daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome, everybody. Did you like how I did that little sweeper thing? I did it by accident. I don't know what happened. But anyway, it kind of got there in the end. Welcome, everybody, to the Daily Premier League on podcast on Sunday, the 26th of October. It's a dark, dismal and dreary UK because our clocks have gone back. So it's about 8 o'clock. It's going to get on for 7:45 in the evening here in the UK. Feels like midnight, to be honest. My name's Ken Davis. His name is Nick Britton. We've just been out for a curry, by the way, which we thoroughly enjoyed. And we're here to review all the weekend Premier League action. How you doing, Nick? Did you enjoy your curry?
It was good. We could have just done it. We could have just taken our gear down and done it from the restaurant, couldn't we? That would have been good. We could have set ourselves up in a corner and just done a little live podcast from the corner.
In the Lotus, Mercy Marina, Derbyshire. Yeah. That's going to be worth an advert, isn't it? So it's been a very interesting, it's another very interesting weekend of Premier League action. We're going to go through it all. We better get this out there into the public domain. Nick did win this week's prediction competition. He got 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. I got 4 out of 10. Every one of those predictions looked absolutely kind of sensible. And yet both of us, you get 50%, I get 40% right.
Oh, yeah. And actually, in the great sort of scheme of things, going from 3 out of 10 last week to 5 out of 10 isn't an enormous leap until you realise that I've won this week. And that, my friend, is massive, given the stick you gave me last week. So I am now officially the king of predictions. Thank you very much indeed.
You are this week. You are king of predictions this week by one. Right, what we're going to do is just go through the games, really. There were lots of talking points in all the games. There's some stuff going on. Nick gave me a lot of grief last week for saying, Arnie Slott, his seat's getting warmer. And Nick was saying, no. And guess what? His seat's getting warmer. Arnie Slott's chestnuts are roasting on an open fire as we're talking right now, I suspect. Anyway, we'll come to the games. We'll do it in turn.
Listen, every time you can't think it can get worse for Liverpool and they have to turn a corner, it gets worse because they were wretched yesterday. They were awful.
Yeah, well, let's come to that as we come to that. Let's go through them chronologically. Leeds against West Ham.
No surprise. No surprise. This is where all your predictions started unravelling at a rapid rate because you thought that West Ham would get a draw there.
I thought there'd be...
Which would be the most stupid... I mean, honestly, in the world, in the entire history of predictions, in the entire history, and this is going back hundreds of years, that people who were predicting sporting events, nobody in their right mind would ever have predicted West Ham getting a point away at Leeds.
I feel such a fool now, to be honest.
You should feel a fool, to be honest with you. You should feel a fool. No, it was 2-1. I mean, you might say, Ken, if I was being charitable to you, West Ham also had a goal disallowed for offside. But it wasn't until the 90th minute that they scored. And that even then, it didn't make for a frenetic sort of few minutes of injury time. It was comfortable for Leeds.
West Ham... They were up after 14 minutes. Leeds were absolutely strolling it.
Just defending is just so appalling. And the whole point of bringing Nuno in, by the way, the whole point of bringing Nuno in was to shore up the defence, and they just looked just as bad as they ever did under Graham Potter, trying to defend crosses, trying to defend set pieces, trying to defend in general.
It's not got any better.
No,
I saw Nuno's press conference afterwards. Asking for an explanation as to why they'd been so slow out the blocks. And he was very critical, lack of focus, lack of concentration. But he seemed almost, I wouldn't say accepting of it, but he wasn't angry is what I'm getting at. He seemed very, it seemed a very placid.
Yeah, but you know what? If you go in like he has done, you can just go, it's not my fault, is it? It's the players I've got.
But as we know, the
players are rubbish. And I mean, look, it's very rare that. Sometimes you get a new manager bounce, and that was the point. sometimes nothing happens. It's very rare that you get a new manager dip, and this is what's happening.
Seen a few this season.
Well, Ange at Forest, who ironically, of course, replaced Nuno at Forest. So, no, rubbish, West Ham, I'm afraid. I feel so sorry for Jarrod Bowen. He is their only half-decent player. And he got an assist the other day, Friday night. Please go and play somewhere else. Go and sign for a decent team in January before it's too late.
What if he does? It's curtains for West Ham. And I'm just looking at the league.
It's curtains for West Ham anyway.
I can't
see.
Out of a possible 27.
Yeah, 3 of those came in a really bizarre victory at Nottingham Forest, which was a complete outlier in terms of anything else they've done this season. So it's not like they picked up points
in the last 18.
Yeah,
it's not looking good, is it?
No, it's not like they're picking up points here or there. They just had that one win and that's it, and then they've just gone back to losing again. They can't defend. They've got no pace in the midfield. They've got Bowen up front. They've got Paqueta up front. So they've got possibilities up there. They're both very good players. But yeah, I mean, they're just. I don't see, to be honest, how they're going to get out of this.
I don't think so either, to be quite honest. In fact, the bottom 4, Fulham, who we'll talk about in a bit, Forest, West Ham, and Wolverhampton Wanderers, just seems to be getting cut adrift a little bit. Anyway, from that end of the table, and an utterly predictable, even though not by me, result, then we come to Chelsea against Sunderland. Who foresaw this? I mean, Sunderland really are, for a second, maybe even for 2 hours, they were second in the Premier League.
Yeah, it doesn't tell the whole story of the game. I mean, Chelsea scored very early on, 4 minutes in, and you think, okay, here we go. But fair play to Sunderland. They got themselves back in it. They equalised on 22 minutes, and it was a fairly sort of evenish first half, but the second half was just Chelsea, and Sunderland sitting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But they just couldn't break them down. They didn't have any attacking edge. They didn't have any craft or guile. It was just fairly mundane stuff as they just couldn't break Sunderland down. And then as the game went on, in the last sort of 10, 12, 13, 14 minutes, Sunderland just started breaking away, and they had a couple of opportunities to break away and score. And then, of course, in the 94th minute, they did. And fair play to Brian Bobby, by the way. Bobby, right? Yeah. If you haven't seen a goal, he gets the ball high up the pitch from a. It was a Chelsea had overcommitted trying to win the game. He gets it, but he does brilliantly because he just hangs on to it and hangs on to it and hangs on to it and hangs on to it. Waits for a couple of people to try and join him up the top end of the pitch, and then Talby does so and just bends a beautiful first time shot from Robbie's pass into the bottom. Bends it round into the bottom left of the goalkeeper's goal, and game 1 out of nowhere. And we've seen it. Listen, we're all football supporters. We've been there. We've done it. We've seen it. We've got a T-shirt where your team's so dominant in a game they're supposed to win and just get hit by an absolute sucker punch at the end of the game. And I'm not saying Sunderland necessarily deserved to win the game, but they did enough certainly not to lose it. And fair play. I mean, it just builds on their brilliant start to the season. And I think they're going great guns.
They are 17 points out of 9 games. They ain't going down. There's no way they're going down.
No. Nobody thought they would. I didn't have them in my bottom 3.
You always think there's been this thing about teams that come up seems to be the favourites to go back down again. Sunderland are not going down. There's absolutely no chance as Nick reaches for his glass of red wine. It is. They're difficult to beat. They've got a good defence. They've got a very solid defence. Probably a good acquisition, I think. They've just acquired really. They've been very smart in their acquisitions, I think.
Well, yet again, Granit Xhaka was the man of the match. And we've talked about him before, and what an acquisition he's been. What signings he's been. He's exactly what Sunderland needed. And he's shown to still have plenty to offer the Premier League.
He has been a real anchor in midfield. So well done to him. Well done to Sunderland. That's a fantastic result. The Breeze done a fantastic managerial job there as well. Right, so that leaves Chelsea in 9th. Chelsea, curate's egg. They just you touched on the fact they have a lot of possession, but they just don't seem to be able to unlock the door. See that a lot. Sunderland up to 4th. Newcastle 2-1 winners against Fulham. Fulham We'll talk about Newcastle, but Fulham lost the last 4 now. Down in 17th. I mean, starting to look a bit dicey for Marcus Silva's team.
They were very close to picking up a point yesterday. They were very physical against Newcastle. They were very organised. They didn't play badly at all. I mean, it took a 90th minute goal from Bruno Guimaraes to beat them after a nice little run from Willasula. And you know, they did okay. They went one down, obviously, to Jacob Murphy's goal, which was a well taken goal. I like Jacob Murphy, by the way. I think he's one of my favourite sort of the Newcastle crowd. I think he's good. And they got back into it. Lukic scored on 56. So, and it looked like it was going to just drift away for a point. And Newcastle were pressing, as you'd expect them to do. Home team, home advantage, big crowd as always, and they just got over the line. It didn't look like they were going to. I'm not going to lie. They just got over the line, but it was. I think, Fulham's goalie he's got to look at himself here, Bert Leno, because the shot's come in from Asula, and he's dived down to his right, and now what are you told? What are you told when you can't hold the save? What do? You push it away. But where are you always told? Goalkeeper coaching since you're the age of 5, push it away from goal, and you feel like he could have done that quite comfortably, but instead he's just pushed it straight out to Guimaraes, who stuck it straight back beyond him and into the net to win the game. And I think if you're Leno, you're looking at that going, yeah, I should have done much better. Much better.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, Fulham, to be honest, keep losing games by the odd goal. I mean, they're not conceding huge amounts of goals. I mean, they've only conceded 14. It's the same as Liverpool, by the way. And scored 9. So I don't think their performances have been dreadful. They've just been on the wrong end of tight games over and over again recently. I mean, we like Fulham, so we expect that to turn around. But they're putting themselves in a tricky spot right now.
They are in a tricky spot. I think they'll be okay. I think they're good at home. I know they're not picking up the points they should be, but they're good at home. It'll turn around, I think. Marco Silva's an excellent manager, and it'll turn around. I mean, as for Newcastle, they needed to really build on what was an excellent performance in midweek in the Champions League, where they put Benfica to the sword pretty comfortably, I would say. And I think they needed this win. And it was one of those where they deserved it, or just about. It was a close game, but you feel that Newcastle have got to start building up momentum. They're another one who've probably underperformed and disappointed a little bit this season. They need to start picking up wins. Yeah, these types of games where you win it in the last moment and all that, they can do a world of good for your confidence. They really could.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they've won 3 out of the last 6, so they're definitely moving in the right direction. And the European game, as you're saying, was definitely a fillip for them. Right, I knew, because I got this prediction right. It's the one I got right, and you
well done. Congratulations,
the Man United one. I told you that Amorim is going to end up being carried shoulder high through Salford. People are really starting to buy into Amorim. Watch the longer highlights of this game, and I mean, Cunha, great first goal. Man United looked dominant, went 3 up. Then Brighton got it back to 3-2, and it was a very, very nervy time. And Mbeumo smashes one in injury time to seal it. Man United look a different team. They look confident. There's a load of attacking threat. I'm not over keen on Casemiro still in midfield, but they're just starting to have, some urgency, some balance, and some cutting edge, which is great, because I think that's 3 wins on the bounce now for Man United, and they find themselves above Liverpool.
2 things, Ken. 2 things have happened. The first is that Matheus Cunha is back and fit. He missed a few games, and he makes a massive difference because he's he really
Wolves as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah, we'll come to that. So I think having him in that front 3, him and Mbeumo and Sesko is a huge fillip for Manchester United, because Sesko's still not really firing.
No, he's not firing, is he?
Everything was kind of going through Mbeumo. and that then becomes fairly easy to kind of mark because he's the main attacking outlet. Cunha is a different proposition, and that's made an enormous difference. And the other one is finally, he's putting Amad Diallo in the team, and that's making a massive difference. And I couldn't understand for a moment why he wasn't playing before, and he's really coming to the fore. So I think, you're right about Casemiro. Not a great fan. Still looks a bit slow. Still looks a bit, and Kobe Mainu came on for him, and actually Mainu and Dio is a good two. Fernandes is playing well again after a bit of a sticky spell. So it is starting to click, without a doubt. It's starting to click.
I think he's finally working out his best team, and he's got his best team or something close to his best team available. It just looks night and day compared to last season.
Well, look, let's not just overly get carried away. He's been in charge a year, and for 10 and a half months of that year have been pretty wretched. So, yes, they've won away at Liverpool and they've beaten Brighton at home. Great. Every game, you've just got to build on it and build on it and build on it and take it, to use the old cliche, game by game by game. And they were good yesterday. They played well yesterday. Let's see what the next couple of fixtures, particularly away from home, bring.
Yeah, 4 wins out of 6 though for Man United. So well played to them. Up to 6th place, 1 place above Liverpool as we finish this week. Who would have thought that 4 weeks ago?
Absolutely.
Not
100%.
me.
No, I mean, that win against Liverpool, they needed to build on it. They needed to get another positive result yesterday, and they've done that, and fair play to them. I mean, Brighton are no mugs, but I've got to say, I mean, I watched the game, and Brighton were not at their usual standard by any stretch of the imagination. Their passing, which is by far their biggest strength, was way off. And I mean way off. And yes, they got the 2 goals very late in the day, 74 and 93, and that made it potentially a sticky end to the game, although Mbuemo scored on 97 to make it safe. They weren't their usual side. And I don't know about Brighton. They're kind of flattering to deceive a little bit, I think, this season. They're not quite up to the level they were last.
No, down to 13th now. Which brings us to the most predictable game of all. Brentford against Liverpool. You can guarantee Liverpool are giving 2 goals away. We've seen this now for week after week after week, and in this case, they were 2-0 down by half time against Brentford, who everybody thought were going down this season. Liverpool's susceptibility to set pieces is still a massive issue. I think everyone would have seen that first goal now. What Kirkes is doing, fast asleep on the back post when the guy smashes it in. I mean,
I feel a bit sorry for Kirkes in that situation.
Do you?
Actually, because I don't think he was asleep. I think that if you look at where the ball's come across, it's got a flick on, and as Utara, it's actually behind Utara when he swings and volleys it in.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what Kirkes is meant to do in that situation. I think his positioning was fine.
Close. Again, no, he needs to get close. He needs to fight harder than he.
Yeah.
This is the thing. This is the thing. He needs to make it more difficult for him than he made it. The second goal,
I don't think he probably didn't even expect him to shoot from there because the ball was really behind him and he's hooked it in brilliantly.
Oh, it's a great goal. It's a great goal.
Most players would take a touch there. I think.
Yeah, maybe, but I still think Kirkes, even if he was planning on taking a touch, Kirkes has got to be tighter to him there. And the second goal, Konate gives up on that.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, Konate's just had enough, hasn't he?
Just gives, when he gets into the penalty area, he just give up.
Yeah.
That was the most blatant give up I've seen by a professional footballer in a very long time.
The problem is Shada had made the run. He was the wrong side of Konate, so Konate knows that if he touches him.
No, I get that, but it was horrible to watch. It
was horrible to watch because he did actually just kind of stop running, didn't he? Just thought he didn't even do what kind of a defender you should do in that situation where you've got no chance of getting a player, so you then try and make the move in to cover your goal line. Because for all we know, keeper makes half a save.
Correct.
Konate follows up, by which time Konate is on the goal line.
Or by which time even if he's not on the goal line, Konate can influence the game if he doesn't just smash it into the goal, which he did. But Konate didn't know that. So, I thought that was awful.
Yeah. No, it was poor.
Which continues. That's a run of Konate issues, I think. I mean, defensively, Liverpool all over the place. And they're susceptible to teams running at them. We've seen that. So Salah scores a magnificent goal. I mean, we've got to give him credit. That's a goal.
What a goal that was, by the way. What a take, first of all, and then finish with his other foot from that tight angle into the near post top bins. Wow.
Yeah.
That was prime Salah, that was.
Goal of the season so far for me, that one.
Out of nowhere,
completely out of the blue. Brighton's penalty was an odd one because
I know Brentford's was even worse.
Sorry, Brentford's penalty was an odd one.
I know. I couldn't quite get my head around that at all.
When I saw it in real time, I thought, "What's he doing? It's clearly outside the box." Because they end up way outside the box, don't they? So
the Brentford player's running out of the box with the ball. Van Dijk kicks him. It was sort of challenging for the ball, but kicks him. But he just looks way out of the box. And in the end, the VAR decided that when the actual contact was made, the boot of the Brentford player was on the line, right on the line of the area, goal area. Yeah. And therefore, although the rest of his body seemed to be out of the area, and by the time he fell over, he was about 5 yards out of the penalty area. Yeah, the foul is committed on the line, which is the rules of the game. If it's on the line, means in the penalty area. But it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it?
Yeah, massively weird one, and it looked weird in real time. Anyway, took it well. That made it 3-1. Salah went up the other end, smashed the worldie in, but Liverpool end up losing 3-2.
And it was. I don't know if you saw the game. So the last sort of 5-10 minutes of it. Because there was a change of referee at half time. Simon Hooper, who refereed the first game, the first half rather, and he was giving the Brentford fans a lot of pain because he played a lot of injury time in the first half, during which Liverpool scored. They scored sort of 6 minutes into injury time at the end of the first half, when I think he'd only signalled something like 3 or 4, and then at the end of the game, it was a similar thing. So the new referee signalled. I think, I can't remember what it was. Was it maybe 6 or something like that? But he played sort of 2 or 3 extra, and the Brentford fan and the ball's bobbing around the Brentford box, and Liverpool are trying to score, and there's chaos, and there's blocks and kicks and foots and heads all over the place, and the Brentford fans going absolutely nuts.
As she should, as she was. But they hung on, and it's great win for. Great win for Brentford, up to 11th. Liverpool down to 7th now. Right, as we know in football, as Arnie Slott knows, but doesn't seem to show it, it pays to get your team selection right. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery partner, and we chose Zencastr because Zencastr makes it easy to bring your vision to life and share it with your audience wherever they may be. So with 4K video recording, easy AI editing tools, and top-tier distribution all in one place, if you've got a story to tell it with Zencastr. Check the show notes for more of those details.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Okay, on to Sunday's games. By the way, do you think Arnie Slott is on the bubble now? Do you think
I was going to ask you that. Is he under pressure? What do you think?
Yeah, massive pressure.
Is he in danger of losing his job?
Yes, he is. And you know how good I am at predicting this stuff. You know I am.
To be fair, you got all the Forest stuff absolutely nailed on. Yeah.
He is, because Liverpool fans really do believe that he won last year with Klopp's team. Now we've got an Arnie Slott team, and we don't like it one bit. I think he's in a lot of trouble. Now, they've got to win the next 2 games. We've all forgotten about it.
They won't sack him. No chance will they sack him. No chance.
No.
No chance.
What, we lose the next 6?
They're not going to lose the next 6.
We didn't think we lose the last 4.
They're not going to lose them. I mean, bizarrely, against Eintracht Frankfurt in the week, in the Championship. They look really good. They look properly good.
Well, you know my view on the Premier League against the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I know that. I get that.
Yeah, it's right.
Well, yeah, if he loses the next 6, but Liverpool aren't that sort of club. When was the last time Liverpool sacked a manager?
What are the next 2 games Liverpool have got? I cheated. I looked. Aston Villa at home, Man City away.
Okay, all right. I mean that
You can lose them 2. You can definitely lose them 2.
Well, he could lose those. He could lose. They could lose those 2, but I don't think that was the case.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get 1 point out of those 2 games. Luckily for Arnie Slott, he's then got Forest and West Ham.
On the 15th, on the 4th of October 2015, Brendan Rodgers was sacked. I think he's the last manager to be sacked. To be fair, I think didn't Jurgen Klopp take over and he was there till a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
so.
I think it clearly is a long shot, but to say he's not under pressure, he's under a lot of pressure. The wheels, all 4 wheels now have come off that bus. And he's about to lose the steering wheel next weekend and probably the spare wheel against Man City. And it's going to be just like the Caravan.
Well, no, Caravans have
an old,
Caravans
dodgy Caravan with no wheels.
On bricks.
So, on bricks, exactly. And in Liverpool, that happens a lot. So, anyway, moving on to Sunday's games. The first one, I got this way wrong. Apologies, everyone. Bournemouth 2, Forest 0. Forest
no! It's going to be a return to the mean. You said on yesterday's podcast, Forest are going to get better, and Bournemouth aren't top 4 material. This is going to be a return to what it should be like. Forest are going to win. What's the score?
It was 2-0.
2-0 to Bournemouth.
All over
by half time.
Bournemouth are now second. Forest are 18th. Forest lost 5 and 6. They've got 1 point in the last 18.
Sean Dyche is going to get sacked. That's my prediction.
Who will get sacked first, Sean Dyche or Arnie Slott? I mean, it might take 3 years, but
well, no, Marinakis. Sean Dyche he's only got 1 game left. That's it. It's all over.
So it just didn't look very good all the way through, did it? Really, for Forest, they're not the team they were.
Pretty boring performance from them. Pretty comfortable for Bournemouth. And a very, very well deserved victory. I mean, look, you shouldn't be letting in goals direct from corners. As a goalkeeper, you just shouldn't be. Simple as that. But
he's gone off. He's sells.
By the way, yeah. I mean, it was also a great hit from Krupi, who's this teenager who's burst onto the scene. One of these sort of it's another great Bournemouth signing type of player.
Yeah.
A couple of goals last time out. Another one today. Good hit as well. A good run and a hit from 25 yards or so, was it? And Forest just looked really drab. Bring back Ange, that's what I say. At least it was entertaining.
It's starting to look very dodgy for Forest. 1 point in the last 18, as I mentioned. Horrible goal difference. They've only scored 5 goals all season in 9 goals. They're by far the lowest scorers in the division. FYI.
Yeah, and it shows and it tells. And Dyche has got a lot of work to do there. He's got a lot of work to do. I mean, we said, didn't we, the other week on this podcast, what are his key priorities? Well, his key priority is to get Chris Wood scoring again.
Yeah,
because he's the only one who's capable of scoring goals in that team.
And it's to be honest, it wasn't far off that same last year when they were doing so well. I mean, an awful lot of their victories came through Chris Wood.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. To be fair, he wasn't even in the squad today. So, but
that's actually quite important, isn't it? I mean, was it an injury thing, or was it simply he's dropped?
He must have taken an injury. But Igor Jesus played.
Yeah,
he started. He was substituted at half time. That's never a good look, is it? Substituted at half time. Awani, we had all this last year. I couldn't pronounce his name last year, and nothing's changed. Awani came on at half time, but didn't really have that much effect on the game either. Just call him Taiwo. That's the easiest thing to do. Forest have got problems in front of goal, without a doubt.
Correct. Arsenal certainly don't have any problems in defence. They won 1-0 obviously against Palace, Eze with the goal. 4 points clear now. Palace's season is faltering.
It is a little bit. I mean, they had a shock defeat against Newcastle in the Conference League on Thursday night. I watched this game today and I thought they played pretty well. The last 15, 20 minutes, they were just all over Arsenal. I mean, they were just peppering they were just, it was cross after cross and effort after effort, but they didn't really get anywhere near the goal, if that makes sense. Arsenal's defence is so good. And in fact, there was
so good. This is the big story of the season, really. Arsenal's defence against Liverpool's defence.
Well, the strange thing is when Palace almost had a shot on target earlier on in the game, the commentator I was watching on TV, and a commentator sort of alluded to the fact that nobody's even had a shot on target against Arsenal at the Emirates. And I don't know whether he means all season or in the last few games or what. But I mean, it is the case. It is the case. But it was always going to be the case that Eze was going to score against Palace. There's always going to happen. It was a magnificent hit. It was a sensational hit. I mean, the ball's kind of hip height, and he's got over it. If you've not seen it yet, it was a cross in, sort of half cleared. Eze steams in. It's hip height, and to be able to rocket it into the back of the net and keep it down, because if you or I, it would still be travelling on its way to the moon. That ball, it was a brilliant hit, and it was always going to be him that scored the goal. Arsenal looked all right. I mean, to be honest, they didn't look great. They had the majority of the game in the first half without really doing anything. They looked better after they'd scored, because obviously they've got the confidence of a 1-0 lead, and they probably think that, we've scored one, that'll be it anyway. But they didn't really create that much, if I'm honest with you. It wasn't that good a game. I'm not going to.
It wasn't a dominant Arsenal performance, was it? But like in the way that some teams dominate, but they're Arsenal solid, aren't they?
They are really rock solid. I mean, they had 3 shots on target, and Palace had 1 shot on target. That kind of tells you that is that kind of game.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering about Gyökeres up front, who is quite an effective target man in as much as he holds the ball up well. He brings
great space for the players.
Yeah, but it just doesn't really look like scoring that
he's
much.
No Haaland, he's miles off Haaland's level.
He's not even at Mateta's level. Saka had a very quiet game. Yeah, Trossard played very well, actually, down the left-hand side.
Trossard has played well this season.
Yeah, I thought he had a good game. Palace huffed and puffed, and I say certainly the last 15-20, they were really trying to get an equaliser. They were bombing balls into the Arsenal defensive third, but didn't really ever look like breaching the defences.
Yeah, I think the thing about Arsenal, it's just so difficult to play through them. You just can't play through them. They're just so organised. Villa 1, Man City 0. I think I think we both had this as. You had it
as a draw.
I had a draw, so I was closer. You had it as an away win,
I had it as why. I had to tell you why, because I just presume that Haaland's going to score.
You do,
but this was only the second game this season that he hasn't scored.
I don't look at my fantasy points. I've probably got 7 or something.
I've got nothing out of my front line this week. Although, to be fair, I did try Friday night, I tried to change it. I tried to get rid of a couple of players, but I was 2 minutes too late logging in. 2 minutes. And
rookie error. No, that's not Soslord.
It's actually Soslord. The players that I was going to get rid of did nothing this week, and the players I was going to bring in, both of them scored. I was gutted.
Sorry to hear that, mate. But Villa scored. Villa
won. On saying that, I was very tempted and was very tempted. So he might have gone on Friday night as well to get rid of Van der Ven out of my team. And today he's got a clean sheet and scored twice. So it wasn't all bad. It wasn't
plenty of points come to Van der Ven owners. But Villa up to 8th, Man City down to 5th. Didn't really see that coming, but Villa have absolutely turned the season on its head. It's really interesting. Liverpool and Villa are on the same points now. After 4 games, obviously Villa, I think, were on 1 and Liverpool were on 12, something like that. It was that, I think. And now they're saying it just shows, actually, in the early part of the season, just what can happen when teams either get on a roll or lose all semblance of how to play football.
Yeah, and I thought Villa, they are back on it. They were probably just about good for the win today. I mean, they got a little bit lucky. Haaland should have scored. He was put through. He did score towards the end of the game, but it was ruled out for offside. Foden had a chance. Savinho nearly scored, but Torres sort of hooked it off the line very well. So they'd certainly had their chances. But Villa, fair play. I mean, they've after that sticky start, they're not looking back. They had a very surprising defeat again, a bit like Palace we're talking about. Very a surprising defeat during the week in Europe, losing to Go Ahead Eagles. But this was a great way to bounce back.
Oh, fantastic confidence booster, that game. And then we come to, in fact, before we come to that, I'm going to just tell you that Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements, because your body's unique, and because without knowing what deficiencies you have, if you take off-the-shelf supplements, you might be getting too many of the ones you don't need, maybe not getting enough of the nutrients you do need. So Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs. So get on the show notes, check the link, and if you use the code GSPN 2025, you'll get 40% off your first discount.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Great. 2 more games just to review quickly. Such dedication doing this after a curry down at the Lotus in Mercy Marina. I hope you appreciate that around the world.
I hope they appreciate all this free advertising, by the way.
No, yeah, they should do. We should get free Indian meals forever, shouldn't we? Do I get that anyway? Don't I? But anyway,
Get that at home, yeah.
yeah. So Wolves against Burnley. About 10 days ago, we said, 2 games to save Wolves this season. We've got away at Sunderland and home against Burnley. Oh, they better turn it around here. These are must-win games. Well, guess what? They lost them both. So is it already curtains for Wolves, Nick?
It's getting very close. And it was a bit ugly after the game. We saw
get sacked in the morning.
Kind of argue with fans. We saw widespread booing. In fact, there was widespread booing after the first couple of goals went in because Burnley took a lead on 14 and scored again on 30. There's a lot of unrest. Good job for Wolves. They got themselves back into it and scored 2 very late goals in the first half. So it was surprisingly 2-2 going into the break. And it remained that way until the 96th minute. So the last kick of the game, when Foster scored. And so, look, Wolves, we know, let in late goals. We've seen it. We saw it against Brighton. We saw it against Tottenham. We know they can't hang on till the end of games. The supporters are very unhappy with the owners. They see this as a managed decline over the last 3 or 4 years. And don't forget, this time last year, it took Wolves until something like the 8th or 9th of November to win a game. They didn't win in the first 10 games.
They're in the same spot as this time.
Exactly as they were last time.
And they got out of it.
Well, they won a couple of games.
You've got to do it twice.
Well, it's very difficult. You see, it's very difficult to sort of repeat this kind of thing because they won a couple of games under Gary O'Neill. Remember, this was at the time. Then they lost 4 more, and then O'Neill got a sack, and Pereira came in, and then they were second from bottom at the time, and saved them. This time round, though, but then during the summer they got rid of Cunha, they got rid of Al Nouri, and they haven't replaced him. They've got off to a very poor start, and the problem is this time is they don't have the players to get them out of it. I don't think that's the difficulty.
Yeah, I think it's the talent.
They're not playing. It's not like they're not like Southampton last year, who are just rubbish. They're not that bad, and they're in games, and they were very close to getting a point today. They were within seconds of beating Tottenham at White Hart Lane, or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as we now must call it, a couple of weeks ago. Likewise with Brighton. So It's not that. It's just they can't seem to see out games. Now, whether it's a lack of quality, whether it's inexperience, whether it's lots of new faces through the door who are still trying to get used to it, I just don't know. But the Wolves fans are clearly, I think today was a bit of a turning point for them. They saw it like we saw it as a bit of a must-win game, or certainly a must not lose game. And there's no suggestion at the moment that Pereira is going to get the sack. He only signed a 3-year contract the last about 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago. But it's just not good enough. Where is this going to end? Where are they going to get their first win from? Because with the greatest respect to Scott Parker and his team, who've done a brilliant job today, brilliant job. If you can't beat Burnley at home, where are you going to get your victories from?
Well, the next games are vital because it's away at Fulham. And we've just talked about Fulham losing 4 on the bounce. If they lose that game away at Fulham, they are going to be a minimum of 8 points adrift. I think that's all over.
Well, if you look at the crowd was singing two things today. First, they were singing against the owners, saying, you've sold the team, now sell the club. Then they were singing against Pereira, sacked in the morning, which is something we heard recently from Nottingham Forest fans.
And that happened.
And it happened. It's really hard. It's really hard because, part of it, you've got to feel sorry for Pereira, who's seeing his best talent go out of the door and it not being replaced. But owners will never take responsibility for these things, and the easiest thing to do is always blame it on the coach. And equally, it's normally the coach that takes the fall for it.
Well, the next 2 games, Fulham away, absolutely critical. And because Fulham haven't got a ton of confidence, but you just see if Fulham need a get-right game, guess what? It's
100%, yeah. And Fulham play with good intensity and good energy at home. I think it'll be a difficult afternoon for us. It is worth saying, amongst all of this, by the way, what a brilliant result it was for Burnley.
Yeah.
What a brilliant.
You have 1-2 on the bounce now.
Yeah, and this was a game. This was a game for them that they would have thought we've got a chance here against a team that's bottom of the league, hasn't won a game all season. They would have been very surprised at 2-0 up to find themselves, 2-0 up after half an hour, to find themselves going into the break at 2-2, because they must have thought 2-0 up at half time, and all the crowd were booing and everybody was had enough.
Yeah,
they would have thought the game was won, but they had to come again, and come again they did.
Yeah, well played, Burnley. Big game for them next week as well. They've got Arsenal at home. And the final game of the weekend just finished. One that we didn't predict: Everton 0, Spurs 3. Spurs look like world beaters again. They're so unpredictable, Spurs, but they look very good. Everton looked very out of sorts. Pickford looked out of sorts.
Well, the saviour of my fantasy league team this week, undoubtedly, is Mickey van der Ven, because after what's looking really like a poor week for me, he should get some points on the board. First Tottenham centre-half to score a double in the Premier League for 12 years now. And great 2 headers, 2 corners. Great.
You might have caught up with me now. I don't look at what my fantasy league's like.
No, you're so far ahead of me.
Oh, well, in so many ways. But no, you're right. But
only because you had Haaland in from the start.
Yeah.
I got about 100 points on before I even turned up.
Vicario, by the way, the Spurs keeper, had a magnificent game. There's a save in that game, which it's got to be up there, save of the season so far, where he scooped something up with his left arm, which was going past him. Absolutely magnificent save.
There's kind of sliding doors moment in this game, I think, when Jake O'Brien scored, or thought he had scored. That would have made it 1-1. And the VAR got involved, and referee Craig Pawson had to go over to the monitor, and then he ruled that Grealish was sort of marginally offside and all of that kind of stuff. And it was one of those where, and you don't see them that often, but you do see them where a player's offside by interfering in the eye line of the goalkeeper. You don't see it that often, those types of offsides. He didn't touch the ball or anything. 1-1 at that stage might have changed it, but there you go. Fair play. Well done.
Susceptible from the. Sorry, just saying Everton's susceptible from the corners. 2 corners, 2 goals.
Yeah, Tottenham 3rd in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
Are they the 3rd best team in the Premier League? I know you've got a bit of a downer on them, haven't you?
I've got a bit of a downer on them. But I don't know who he is, really. I really don't know who he is.
Well, the other thing it's worth saying, and we've said this before, Everton have suffered because they don't have a proper striker in. Beto played today and missed chances.
Yeah.
He missed chances, and a proper. They if they had a number 9 in, I hesitate to say if Calvert-Lewin was still there. I don't mean it. I don't think. But if they had a decent striker in, they would probably got something out of this game and other games that they haven't.
I feel the same way slightly about Spurs, actually. I feel the same way about a few of the teams, actually. If they had the decent striker, they'd be much better. Spurs
imagine what Man City could do.
Yeah.
If they got a decent striker in.
Having said that, Spurs are the top scorers in the division for 17 goals, along with a couple of others. Chelsea have scored 17, so have Man City, so have Spurs. So more than anyone else. So that's it. That's been the week.
Who scored 17 and Haaland's got 17.
Yeah, something like that. That's been another amazing week. Isn't it amazing? The Premier League, and we've learned this as we've been doing this, it's the league that keeps on giving it.
It is. And, it's a great competition this year. This could go down in one of the great Premier League seasons in history. This could.
I think so. I think it's bubbling up to be a classic. There's a million storylines already, so we're going to continue to weave those storylines every day for you. So if you want to keep abreast of everything that's happening in the Premier League, you know where to do that, and that is here at Daily Premier League Podcast. If you want to get in contact with us, and please do, Daily Premier League Podcast @gmail.com is where to find us. We'll be back tomorrow with a bit more information on all the news and all the breaking stories that are happening here. And until then, wish you a lovely evening. And Nick, thanks for joining us with your Pulitzer Prize-winning punditry on the Premier League Podcast.
That was all right, mate. I hope you enjoyed your curry earlier on. It was very nice to see you.
I did. I still got the taste of curry in my mouth.
It was very nice, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a cracker. Brilliant. Have fun, everyone.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.